lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Half number one of the season is complete. Now we get set to begin the second half of season 36 for the SCL Winston Cup Series, and it will begin in Concord, North Carolina at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. Alongside me, my broadcast partner, Daniel Paulus Jr. Daniel, a tough race last week at Iowa Speedway on these drivers, thanks to just how difficult it is to get around Iowa, the track configuration and how bumpy it was, especially in the corners, was a little bit difficult for these drivers. But we're here now at the home of NASCAR, Charlotte Motor Speedway. Flat and fast here tonight are going to be the keys to the game.
Yeah, last week at Iowa Speedway, it was an interesting race. We saw a lot of drivers have issues going over the bumps, making their cars come around on them. But it was a pretty decent race after all last week. But now that we're here at the second half of the season at Charlotte Motor Speedway, it's a 1.5 mile track with 24 degrees of banking, and I can't wait to see what happens here tonight.
Yep, absolutely. And when I said flat, I meant smooth is what I more meant to say. We'll take a look, by the way, at the point standings here going into the second half of the year. And Michael Matta currently sits on top by 30 points over Lilith Peters. Justin Lewis, who got the win last week, won pretty much everything else that this series that the SCL has had on offer, except on Monday night. Finally got that monkey off his back last week Adam Lowe up there as well, as is Trevor Dalton, who had a very good run. So the top 5 right now, very, very close, but Michael Matta sitting on top of them all. As we'll look through the rest of the point standings here, just about 2 minutes to go before we get into this qualifying session here this evening. We've got about 25 drivers that are going to be set to take the grid here for tonight's race. A pretty sizable field here for these guys, and we talk about this being the start of the second half of the season, Daniel. If you were one of those drivers that didn't have the greatest first half, what are you looking at here for the start of the second half to try to change your fortune around a little bit?
What we're looking for is the drivers that didn't do good in the first half. I am expecting them to ramp up their skills, their motivation between them and the drivers and the teams. I expect them to make a step forward, try to be up front more often, and possibly get some more points now that we're in the second half of the season. The drivers that have been in the front of the season during the first half, I expect them to be up front once again. But those drivers that are struggling, I do expect to see some motivation come out of them, and hopefully we'll start seeing them towards the front here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's the start of the second half of a season, and that could mean a world of difference for a lot of these drivers. First half woes could be behind them, thinking maybe now we really start and get going. If you're still kind of in the fight, if you're still kind of in the hunt, will certainly kind of boost your momentum, boost your feelings, I guess, that, first half of the season's over, now we get a chance basically to kind of start anew. As we get set, about 10 seconds to go here before we jump into qualifying, as practice just about done. Practice session now finishing up. Take a look and see which one of the 25 drivers, 26 actually, will be jumping out on track first here for qualifying. And it would appear we have a couple of takers, but I believe it is going to be the 16 of Michael Matta who is going to be the one that gets us going this week. As Michael Matta carrying tonight's race sponsor Cisco on board. Has been carrying them on board most of this season, but here tonight, definitely want to give them a little bit of extra love tonight, as they are our race sponsor. And again, be sure to tune into Cisco Moon's music, available on all of your favorite music platforms, whether it be Spotify, Apple Music. Not sure what the Android one is, but I'm sure you can find it there as well. That would include their newest single, Sandman, with producer Stevie, that has just been released recently. As Matta, again, points leader going into this race, will certainly love to give the title sponsor a good show.
As you see Michael Matta making his way through turns 3 and 4. Let's see what kind of lap he lays down here, as he's the first one out on track here tonight at Charlotte. Slots into that 4th position there with a 30.79.
It ran a little bit higher as we see Kevin West here in the number 47. He has the fastest lap so far at a 30.43. A little bit of a wiggle coming out of turn 2, and I believe that's going to nullify his second lap. But now we have a very familiar face up here near the top. That would be Johnny Wood Jr. First lap put him fastest. Barrett Flo on his second lap puts him back to the top of the charts at a 30.31.
Johnny Wood Jr. had an excellent first half of the season here. He won the polls back-to-back once at Pocono, and he did win at Pocono too. So we know how he can play here tonight also.
Saw that 750 of Wood hit the wall coming out of turn 4, putting an end to his second lap. Isaac Love on his second lap goes to the pole at a 30.27. Here's Lilith Peters. Second place in points is Lilith coming in. Fifth fastest right now in that number one. We'll see what she can do coming out of turn number 4. And Peters goes from 5th to pole at a 30.26. Very good lap for the one.
As you see, the 7 of Justin Lewis making his way on track. Currently 6th right now with 30.41. Let's see what he can do here.
I think he's done on his second lap here as we'll take a look at the number 13 of Ryan Kelly. Dynaco sponsor on that number 13. 7th fastest on lap number 1. And the power of the king will get him up to P4 at a 30.32 for car number 13. Minute and a half left here in this qualifying session. Maxwell Caldwell. Lap number 1, slowest of all, but again, we saw him running that outside line.
Had a very strong first half of the season here for Maxwell Caldwell in that 94. Haven't seen him win lately, but he is right there up towards the front, contending for wins, which is a good sign.
He had a disaster of a week last week at Iowa. But other than that, he has been very, very strong, doing his normal Maxwell Caldwell things as Max comes across the line. That'll be 7th position for car number 94. As a series debutante, number 88, this will be Gareth McAllister sliding off of turn 2 hard into the inside wall. It'll be one and done for car number 88.
McAllister not having a good qualifying run here tonight from Charlotte.
22 seconds left here in the qualifying session. Nobody else on track, which that would lock Lilith Peters into the pole. It'll be her first pole award of the year for car number 1. And here in just a moment, we should be going to the grid as qualifying is now officially come to a close. Screen jumps, and we are in the dead of night here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Well, I've heard about daylight savings, of course, which we had over the weekend, but that was a little abrupt. As we'll go to the starting grid here for tonight's race. Lilith Peters with a time of 30.261 will sit on pole here for the first time this season. Isaac Love to her outside in row number 1. Barrett Flo and Ryan Kelly will make up row number 2. Jeremy Flanagan and Johnny Wood Jr. will sit in row 3. Row 4 goes to Maxwell Caldwell and Justin Lewis. Kevin West and David Hanna in row number 5. Trevor Dalton and Joshua Yarborough will make up row number 6. Michael Matta, Steven Johnson in row 7. Row 8 will go to Adam Lowe and Todd Merkel. Matt Schlosser and Eric Schaus will make up row number 9 with Raymond Kimmel and Jack Sanders making up row number 10. Gareth McAllister, the final driver to make a qualifying time. We'll start with Matthew McMeekin to his outside in row number 11. Christopher Melton and Zach Lockett in row number 12. Row 13, we'll see Brandon Hinton and Cody Johnson, and that will round out this field here of 26 drivers. Weather conditions here for tonight's race. We are just past 7 o'clock p.m. in sim time. Wind blowing pretty much to the south, a little bit actually blowing about southeast. At 10 miles an hour, that would be a wind coming back from behind the grandstands between turn 4 and the kink there, the first kink to the start-finish line. 83-degree track temperature, 83-degree ambient temperature here tonight. So it's going to be a rather cool track, warmer ambient temperature for what you would expect this time of year, but definitely a cooler track temp for these guys to kind of help keep the grip in the rear tires.
Now, these drivers usually don't run night as much as day, so that's going to play in a factor here tonight for many of these drivers. We're going to have to see how they can adapt to this nighttime race.
A couple of drivers still yet to jump up onto the grid. Maxwell Caldwell, Steven Johnson, I believe, are the only two. Cody Johnson as well. The three so far that have not yet pinged up. Oh, there's Max. As just waiting for those 2 or 10 more seconds to get going before we roll off with or without them. 125 laps here from the Charlotte Motor Speedway tonight. And to begin the second half of what has been a very interesting season here, season 36 for the SCL Winston Cup Series. As pace cars should be turning the lights on any second now. And getting us rolling here. There it is. As now we are just about a mile and a half away from going green for the first time here tonight. And Daniel, a track that does get quite a bit of use here on the iRacing service. These drivers should know it pretty much inside and out. You start here in rookie class running the street stock, so a track that these guys should know, which means more or less going to get the most out of it that they could possibly get here tonight.
This track, a lot of these drivers have a lot of practice on when they first start driving, and that is very helpful to when these races do occur here. It is crucial for these drivers to not have as many mistakes as possible as we did see in the first half of the season. We want to collect as many points as possible. Again, we are using the old format. We do not have any stages. It's wherever you finish. So that is what is on the plate here tonight for these drivers. But this is going to be an exciting race, and I can't wait to see what happens.
I don't want to hear about the old system, because if it were the old system, then William Byron would have won the championship yesterday. I'm still sour that I saw that. As we're going to go around again here, adding an extra pace lap as we usually do. Not something we usually see all that often here in our leagues, but again, it gives you another chance to kind of gauge how you want to start this race and possibly maybe psych yourself out on the restart.
For sure. As you see the pace car making its way into turn 1, pace lights are off. We have the one of Lilith Peters on the inside and the 13 on the outside.
Should be one to go here, as we are just about ready to kick it off. Again, we've made so much about this being the start of the second half of the season and how much fun that is, and we got a lot of great races coming up here in the second half of the season for these guys. As coming up next week here for this series will be Talladega Super Speedway. Daniel, a race I know you're looking forward to before the week off for Thanksgiving. Then it's the racetrack that I'm looking most forward to, the Nashville Fairgrounds, Indianapolis, Bristol, and then Atlanta, the old surface at Atlanta to close out the season. It is certainly going to be a second half of the year you are not going to want to miss. Pace car is off, getting set to go green for the first time here tonight at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Lilith Peters leads them down. Green flag is in the air. We're off and running for 125 laps from the home of NASCAR.
Cars entering turn 1. Lilith Peters side by side with the 13 of Kelly on the outside. It looks like Lilith Peters is still going to be battling with that 13 head on the back straightaway.
It just does. Well, they have them almost even. Is Ryan Kelly to the door of that number 1. Look at Johnny Wood in that 750. He is trying to find a way through. We saw him make that move, let peak to the middle in turn 1. Did the same thing in turn 3 as Wood right now, the only car running on that outside line.
So far, so good for these drivers here on lap 2. Lilith Peters holds out strong up front with the 13 of Kelly in second. And it looks like the 750 of Wood is going to take third place there.
So Maxwell Caldwell take a peek to the inside of the 72 of Jeremy Flanagan down the back straightaway as we'll ride on board here with Caldwell. Boy, there's not too much room between himself and that 72. As Flanagan looking to recover from what was just a dreadful week at Iowa last week. Here goes Caldwell again, looking to the inside.
Caldwell making a move there in turn 3 as he's battling side by side there at the 77 of Yarborough coming out of turn 4.
Joshua Yarborough side by side just behind them, 72, 27, Flanagan and Trevor Dalton running side by side, and Dalton's going to take the spot on the bottom in that number 27 Kodiak Pontiac. As Yarborough, boy, just about clears Caldwell, as Caldwell tried to peek up into that outside lane, wasn't quite close enough, and now Yarborough's got the move done. Or not.
All single file right here, but they're still battling side by side there at the 77.
A little bit further back, that's the 5 of Jack Sanders and Eric Schaus in the 60, battling side by side. I must say, this is a first for NASCAR. That number 5, if you could see, I would say this is the first ever Saline that has taken to a NASCAR circuit. Very spiffy look on that number 5 of Sanders.
Beautiful paint scheme there on the 5 car.
It just goes to show it doesn't have to be flashy. It doesn't have to have all the chrome. Sometimes simple is better. As you see, Justin Lewis there battling with Joshua Yarborough. Yarborough getting a nice little push there from Flanagan on the outside line in the 72 as both Yarborough and Flanagan are going to push through. That's 4th and 5th for the 77 and 72. A lot of 7s in this group.
Look at the 27 of Dalton there making a pass by the 7 of Justin Lewis there in turns 3 and 4, looking to move forward here early on.
So as Jeremy Flanagan made a little bit of a look to the inside of Joshua Yarborough. Those 2 Firefox food cars running P1 and P5 right now. Very, very good week so far. As we'll take a little bit of a look towards the back here. That's the 88 of Gareth McAllister. That is off and in the grass. Right front damage, possibly.
We saw him have issues earlier on in qualifying. Did he have an issue here? Let's take a look at this replay here.
Yeah, it looks like he may have gotten to the wall. Whatever happened to him had already happened by this point. Let's see. Back this up a little bit. Backed it up too far. Let's try again. Just coming out of turn 4. Oh, wiggle. Overcorrected into the outside wall. So that is what has happened. Go ahead.
Just not the night he wanted to have here at Charlotte, only on lap 10.
Certainly not, as we see Kevin West trying to put the pressure on Maxwell Caldwell right now in the 94. First time we've seen Kevin West in quite a while. He was a big player towards the end of last season. Stepped away a little bit and now back.
Haven't seen him much earlier on in this season, but good job for Kevin West so far in that 47 machine out Canton, Georgia, in the tied top 10 here, battling with the 94 of Maxwell Caldwell. Possibly a spoiler for tonight's win, but we got a long way to go as we're only on lap 13.
From the races I've seen with Kevin West involved in them, he certainly will be in a position for a win here tonight, as we see Sanders battling with Matthew McMeekin there in the 41. McMeekin down on the bottom, trying to not only get past Sanders, but also try to put himself in a position to get around Todd Merkel. Couldn't quite complete the second half of that, but he has gotten around Jack Sanders.
That 2-car of Merkel, he started inside. He made his way up inside the top 10 earlier on in this race, but it looks like he's falling a little bit backwards. I'm not sure why. He just has to regroup, possibly make it back up to the front, but I expect that 2 machine to be up in the front later on in this race.
And for Todd Merkel, he is one of those guys that does like to be very careful with his equipment, so maybe just trying to save a little bit of tire here in the early stages of this run. Michael Matta doing the same, and we've seen Matta all season long, tries to cut every race in half as best as he can. In that number 16, he's lost 4 spots from where he started, currently running in 17th, right in the middle of this dog pile, as there's Matt Schlosser in the 400 looking to the inside.
Still side-by-side battling with the 16 of Michael Matta. Coming out of turn 4 and into the triangle there.
16 able to push it up a little bit. Now he's getting to the inside of the 5 of Sanders. See in the foreground there, that's Adam Lowe and Matthew McMeekin battling. This is just outside the top 10 for these guys. Michael Matta riding the wall there, coming through 3 and 4.
You see all these drivers now almost single foul here, working their way around Charlotte Motor Speedway on lap 16, with the 1 of Peters still out front.
Yep, there she is, Lilith Peters diving into turn 3. Built up a half a second lead over Johnny Wood. Now Wood had about a second back to the rest of the field, and Ryan Kelly has evaporated that gap. There's the gap between second and third right now, and instead of it being a gap to second and third, it's now a gap to third and fourth, as that 13 putting on a clinic right now as far as speed goes. To the
Top
inside,
pulling away from the pack here. You see the 13 putting pressure now on the 750 of Wood, gaining ground on that second place car.
Joshua Yarborough a little bit further back, getting hassled by Trevor Dalton in the 27, Barrett Flo in the 92. Lose out to Dalton, but not to Flo.
47 machine still holding on to 10th place here.
On board of Kevin West, you saw that big wiggle there that he had coming out of 4. Something I didn't think I would hear, and we've heard it twice now, downshifting in the center of these corners here.
Yeah, I didn't expect much of these drivers to downshift in the corners, but some drivers do that to make more speed. That's what I heard from some of the drivers. But if it was me, I usually just run 4th gear all the way around. But that's the driver's decision to make.
You mean 5th gear?
5th gear now.
Yeah. As we're seeing West work his way through. Now again, there's the 3 sister tracks, Atlanta, Charlotte, and Texas. All 3 of them shaped the same, but as far as the corners go, this one has the tightest corners of the 3. As boy, the 47 and 77 almost getting into it there. Coming out of turn 4, Yarborough looked a little bit slow.
Yarborough making that outside lane work for him. Still battling side by side with the 47 to West there out of turn 2.
Yeah, we really haven't done too many races together, you and I, as far as being able to see on the bigger racetracks how these guys run. This is not different. This is no different than anything else we've seen. Joshua Yarborough loves that outside line, and he uses it to great effect in that number 77 Toyota Camry. Trying to do the same thing here as he feels very, very comfortable up on that high line.
Some drivers are very comfortable using the outside line. Not for me. I like using the inside line just so I don't get to the wall. But that 77 is working pretty good on that outside right now.
Very, very well as Jeremy Flanagan in the 72 in front of the 77. As Flanagan's starting to fall back a little bit, as is Yarborough. Trevor Dalton's gone by. Now Kevin West has gone by. And everything getting single filed out right up until they get to the corner, and then they fan out again.
Yeah, I expect most of these drivers to be single file here tonight. We're going to see some battling side by side with some of these drivers, but up towards the front, once that start goes, I expect single file.
Barrett flow to the inside of Joshua Yarborough now. Flanagan sliding up, kind of killing the run that 77 might have had. It's been a very good run for Jeremy Flanagan here in the early stages. We're just about a fifth of the way through this race, working lap 25 of 125 now. Flanagan's been up here in the top 10, started in fifth, got as high as third. Now currently running in seventh here as we enter the midway point of this run.
Jeremy Flanagan from out of Pennsylvania doing very strong here tonight in the second half of the season here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. In the top 10 for most of the part here tonight. Let's see if he can keep it now.
94, 92 battling side by side. Barrett Flow on the outside. Maxwell Caldwell on the inside. As Yarborough just about caught that wall on the outside. That'll allow Eric Schaus to get in. Gareth McAllister in the 88, we saw him have his incident before. He is been down pit road, taking his fast repair, and has come back out. He's running 2 laps down right now in 24th. Isaac Love, there he is in the 62 behind Matthew McMeekin. But Love started, I want to say he started second, but took an EOL to start at the back, went down pit road on lap 1, and came out around lap 10. So Isaac Love currently would have come out at lap 12. He's 12 laps down right now, running in the 25th position, and Cody Johnson in the 741, set to make his series debut tonight. He did not start the race here this evening.
Look who's cracked the top 10, Frank, is the 60 of Schaus. Been very strong in the last few races here in the first half. Now he's up here in the top 10 again, battling for 9th place with the 72 of Flanagan on his outside.
Schaus has moved up through the field quite nicely, plus 9 positions from where he started up in back in 18th. As Schaus will now go up 10 spots, up into 8th. That 60 car looking really sporty here tonight. As go ahead.
Look who's right behind him. It's the 44 of Steven Johnson's. Also having a very strong run here early on.
He's plus 5, but he had fallen back to about the mid-teens, did Steven Johnson. He got to the front of the pack that we were watching earlier on and was about 2 seconds off of this group that he's currently in right now. Closed that gap right in and now starting to make his way through it. So Steven Johnson, another one, very good on his tires as Matthew McMeekin swings to the inside of Jeremy Flanagan for the 12th position.
CC Meekin working his way out of turn 4. But he's going to be side by side with the 72 Flanagan coming across the start-finish line.
not missing much up at the front of the field. Lilith Peters has a 7/10 of a second lead, but now Ryan Kelly and Johnny Wood Jr. going at it for the second spot. That's Kelly on the outside, Wood on the bottom. Wood has had second for most of this race. And Kelly, boy, virtually even at the line that time.
And with these two battling side by side for second place, that's going to allow the one car of Lilith Peters to start pulling away here. We're going to have to see if they can start figuring something out, trying to catch this one car, because this one car is pretty fast here tonight.
Yeah, she's pulled up 0.2 of a second already in just this one lap. Between those two, as you can see, over the last 5 or so laps, that number 13 has been quicker than Johnny Wood. Now gets the chance to show his stuff up in the second position. Justin Lewis running by himself. 1.7 seconds adrift of the pair we were just watching, and 1.1 seconds ahead of Kevin West and Trevor Dalton. West in 5th, Dalton in 6th. Then it's another 2 seconds back to Maxwell Caldwell here in the 7th spot. And again, there's Isaac Love in the middle of those two. And I was looking, I see a spot in chat there, or a comment in the chat from Kevin Love. Why is Isaac not starting where he qualified? I thought I was crazy with that, because I noticed we went through the grid when we were on the pace laps. I was like, man, something doesn't look right. And that's what it was. Did some investigating, and that was why. He took an EOL and then came down pit road for the first 12 laps. Further back, Joshua Yarborough still trying to make that outside line work, trying to stay in the top 10. Running in 10th right now is the 77.
As we're on board here, looking out of the rear camera here of Joshua Yarborough. As you see him working that outside lane there.
Just about even with Barrett Flo there in the 92. Coming across the line. Working lap 36 here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, caution free. Thus far, Lilith Peters out in front by 1 second over Ryan Kelly and Johnny Wood Jr. Justin Lewis 2 seconds behind. Kevin West and Isaac Love battling for the 5th position on track. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You are watching the SCL Cup Series tonight, presented by Cisco Moon here from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Back here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, what a great battle we've seen here just outside the top 10 with Eric Schaus, Steven Johnson, Barrett Flo, Adam Lowe, Matthew McMeekin, Joshua Yarborough. Great racing that we've seen here all throughout the break. But Daniel, as you mentioned during the break, that 1 second lead that Lilith Peters has had, she's led all 44 laps thus far, by the way. That second lead that she has, yeah, that's about gone here at this point. As you can see, Ryan Kelly, a steady staircase headed back towards Lilith.
Yeah, the one of Lilith Peters. I'm beginning to wonder if she used her tires up way too early here in this run now. As you see the 13 of Kelly there in second, making a ton of ground here on the one here. One's going to have to defend really quick.
It's the first time Lilith Peters has really been under any sort of duress here in this race. She got out to that lead after starting on the pole. Got out to the lead, really didn't have to look back since, but now that 13 of Kelly has caught her right back up. And I think a little bit of added pressure has just been put on her in the chat. From somebody saying there that discounts all around on Firefox Foods if Kaija Cat wins, and that's the team that Lilith Peters drives for. Same thing with Jeremy Flanagan. So there's some pressure for free goodies now on that number one.
I want some free goodies, but no, this race has been it's been an excellent race so far here on lap 47. As you see the 13. Trying to use that outside line here, see if he can get a run here off the corner exit.
Only been one other race this season where we've gone this long into a green flag run from the start of the race without a caution, and that was back at Motegi about 3 weeks ago. And if you remember, that race went caution-free. Every other race so far this season, we have had double-digit cautions. Between 10 and 14 cautions we have seen in every single race this season except for Motegi, and so far here at Charlotte.
Very clean racing here. As you see the 47 of West now putting pressure on the 7 of Justin Lewis there for fourth place. As you see the 47 go by, 7 is going to come to pit road.
Yep, Justin Lewis down pit road. We've seen a couple of guys trickle in towards the back of the field, but this is one now that'll certainly draw the attention of the drivers up near the front as P4 comes into pit. But Ryan Kelly has gotten right up to the back of that number one, but hasn't really been able to put a move on her just yet. I mean, Lilith Peters is still very much in command of this race.
She is very much in command of this race. But you see that 13 hugging that outside wall there. Very close for the 13 of Kelly there. I thought he was going to hit the outside wall, but he keeps it going in second place there, trying to get past the 1 of Peters.
Coming out of turn 4, that gap, because of that mistake from the 13, has certainly opened up. Let's look a little bit further back. Here is a nice little group. Maxwell Caldwell, Eric Schaus, and Steven Johnson giving each other absolutely no room going into turn number 1. Johnson clips the apron from the back of the line. That just goes to show how much trust that these guys have in each other to leave not a paper's width of room going into the corner. And now there goes Eric Schaus. Schaus up 12 spots from where he started, up to 6th now is car number 60.
Very strong run for the 60th Schaus as he makes a pass there from the 94 of Caldwell and the 44 Steven Johnson's. Very tight racing between these three drivers into the turns and down the front and back straightaway. Gonna have to keep a close eye on them, see if they can make their way up to the front there. As you see, the 60 did gain 12 positions.
Caldwell's kind of fluctuated between He started in 7th. He got as high as about 5th, as low as 10th, and he's back up to falling back to 8th now. It's been a top 10 car tonight for car number 94, but it's not been a winning car. As we'll take a look here, it's the 52 of Christopher Melton, another series debutant, battling with Matthew Schlosser, a series debutant. A little bit of contact coming out of turn 2 between them. Wall keeps the 52 straight, 40 slots in behind. We keep going.
I thought one of those cars were going to go around there, but as you see the 52 of Christopher there from Longwood, Florida, having a great day here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Plus 10 from where he started. Now, Melton did not put down a qualifying lap in that number 52. You have 3 really big movers here tonight. Both Schaus and McMeekin are plus 12 spots. As you see, that's the 7 of Justin Lewis slicing through this traffic as if they're standing still. Lewis on fresh tires, having pit on lap 48, which explains his rapid movement through the field. But both Schaus and McMeekin plus 12 from where they started. Christopher Melton plus 10. Those are the only 3 drivers in double digits plus from where they started.
As you see, most of these drivers single file here, working on lap 56 now. As you see, Peters still holding the lead very strong over the 13 of Kelly. In 3rd place is the 750 of Wood there.
Speaking of Wood, he has fallen off the front 2 as he catches the wall there coming out of turn 4. And that's another thing that we were talking about during the break. It always seems like the wall in turn 4 here, there's a couple of tracks where it feels like it, but it feels like that wall in turn 4 jumps out and catches you here at Charlotte. It comes up on you quick. Here, Texas, and you had mentioned the old surface at Atlanta, it certainly feels like it feels like it moves in throughout the race.
It does, and when you're driving through turns 3 and then in turn 4, it looks like you're not even going to hit it at all, and then when you realize it, it's too late, and that wall just hammers you away from the outside wall, and it pushes you to the inside, making your car very loose and out of control and causes you to wreck. So you want to try to avoid that outside wall in turn 4 as much as possible, but unfortunately it happened to me and a few other drivers in their careers.
Yeah, it's certainly happened to me on more than one occasion as Adam Lowe looks to the inside of Maxwell Caldwell, takes the 8th spot away from Max. By the way, to finish that point on Johnny Wood, he was about a second or so off of Lilith Peters before getting passed by Ryan Kelly, who's fallen back a couple more tenths now. Yeah, Wood is now 2.5 seconds off of Kelly. Forget about Lilith Peters. He's 3 seconds off of her, but 2.5 seconds now off of second place. He's still got 3.5 seconds on Kevin West in 4th, but that's a big drop off from Johnny Wood Jr.
It is, and look who's in 8th place right now. It's the 58 of Lowe. Had a very strong few last races earlier on in the first half of the season. Adam Lowe, he's back up here in the top 10. I won't be shocked if he wins a race or 2 before this whole season's over, and he's a very strong driver, and he is so committed to working on his car and bringing a best car to the track every week.
Top 5 in points currently for Adam Lowe. As Lowe starts to waltz away from the 2-time champ, Maxwell Caldwell, as Christopher Melton battling with Barrett Flo. Melton looking to move forward. And Melton, after not putting down a qualifying lap, showing really, really strong here as here comes Lilith Peters, leader down pit road here on lap 62. This is just before the halfway point.
As you see the one car of Lilith Peters making her way down pit road. That's going out of the 13 of Kelly take the lead there, put the 750 of Wood in second place, and the 47 of West in third place there. As you see the 52 of Melton now cracking the top 10, chasing down 9th place, taking it away from McMeekin here.
See it in the chat from driver in this series, Ronnie Hurst. Thank you very much. Isaac had to serve an EOL plus a drive-through penalty for an incident at Iowa last week. Him sitting there for the extra dozen laps, that was on him. So thank you very much for that. As Kevin West giving up the third position to come down pit road. Matt Schlosser down pit road as well in the 400. As now waiting on Ryan Kelly to come down pit road, and it would certainly behoove him to come down pit road sooner rather than later, because Kelly right now is about 2 seconds off the pace from where he started this race on fresh tires, so he'll be losing about 2 seconds a lap to Lilith Peters.
Now that we see some drivers come down pit road, I do expect more drivers to start making their way to get service here. As you see the 13 of Kelly now entering pit road. Looks like he's going to bring more drivers with him too. Looks like 750 of Wood also pitting.
Johnny Wood Jr. down there. You saw Isaac Love. He actually got around Isaac Love going into the pits. So that will leave Trevor Dalton out in front of the race as Lilith Peters comes up to get her lap back. And because Justin Lewis, there he is in that number 7, because Justin Lewis came in so early, Lewis will be the leader of the race when pit stops cycle through. Now, he is on a 2-stop strategy compared to a 1-stop like everybody else. But Lewis right now, currently 4.5 seconds clear of Lilith Peters, and there is Ryan Kelly coming back out onto the racetrack. He was about 0.7 of a second behind Lilith Peters when she came down pit road. Kelly getting back up to speed here in 3 and 4. He's now 3.5 seconds adrift of that one. That is how much the undercut affects you here as Dalton comes in, Barrett Flo in as well, Joshua Yarborough in the 77 in. Here comes Eric Schaus, Christopher Melton coming down pit road this time as well.
This is going to allow the 44 Steven Johnsons to take first place with the 58 of Adam Lowe there holding in second place, and the 94 Maxwell Caldwell rounding out your top 3 currently here on lap 67 out of 125. Frank, it's been an exciting race so far, and a clean race too.
It certainly has, and this is the racing that made me and Zach Woods and Tony Trapasso love this series so much. Is the great green flag racing that we have seen as Johnny Wood Jr. and Kevin West go side by side. This is for 8th on track at the moment. It's been unfortunately missing this season. Again, there's been a lot of cautions this year, but this certainly is a return to form for this series as Steven Johnson comes down pit road. That will leave Maxwell Caldwell with the race lead.
2-time champion of this series, Maxwell Caldwell, taking the lead here on lap 69 at Charlotte Motor Speedway there. As you see on your left side of the screen, the 44 and the 2 pitting right now. As you see Justin Lewis, who's going to be your leader right now, currently in second place once the 94 comes down pit road. So now that he came down pit road, that will leave the 7, your leader, and the 1 of Lilith Peters in second place.
There is Justin Lewis about 3 seconds ahead of car number 1, but on about a 15 or so lap tire disadvantage. However, he is not trying to go the rest of this race. He is on a 2-stop strategy, which basically, if you're running a 2-stop strategy here, which he's the only one of the front guys that is, it does mean you have to make an extra stop, which means you are going to be giving up an extra 44 seconds in pit lane time. but it also means that you can run a lot faster and a lot harder on your tires, and you don't have to worry as much about saving as people who are trying to make their tires go 60 laps are going to have to do.
7 of Lewis still holding the lead here strong, with the 1 of Lilith Peters about 2.5 seconds back there on first place. She is making her way back to the lead here pretty fast here on the 7.
Again, that big tire advantage that one car has. They're running in a pocket by himself is points leader Michael Matta, coming into tonight's race with a 30-point lead over Lilith Peters in that number 1. And Michael Matta running the race sponsor here tonight, Cisco Moon, on his car. They're probably not going to be all that happy with the scratches on the right side from that now. But be sure to tune into Cisco Moon's music, available on all of your favorite music platforms, including their newest single, Sandman, with producer Stevie, available now on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Music, and wherever you listen to your tunes, as Matthew McMeekin goes by Michael Matta. That would be for the 11th spot. And you, Daniel, you are younger than I am. I mean, I'm 30. It's not like I'm an old guy, but how old did I just sound saying listen to your tunes?
Not really that old. I hear a lot of people my age say. But,
okay. You don't have to be kind. You could say you sound like you're 80. It's fine.
No, I'm actually being honest. I actually say tunes a lot too, so I have no judgment here.
There you go. That's good on me then. As this battle's starting to heat up. Eric Schaus on the back end of Trevor Dalton. Boy, about as close as you can get to the back end of Trevor Dalton in the 27. Dalton trying to work his way around the lap car of Raymond Kimmel in the 412. Schaus now giving him a little bit of breathing room. That also allows Matt Schlosser there in the 400 to start to move his way up closer to them.
Haven't seen Matt Schlosser up here in the top 10 lately from Charlotte Motor Speedway, but it's great to see him up here contending for possibly a top 10, top 5. I don't think he has the winningest car tonight, but it would be nice to see him finish in top 5 or top 10 here tonight in that 400 machine there.
Currently running in the 8th spot with a car between himself and 7th, as Justin Lewis has now been caught by car number 1, Lilith Peters. Peters, who has had the dominant car all race long, led every single lap before coming into pit road, now stuck behind Joshua Yarborough and Todd Merkel, keeping her from making a clean pass on Justin Lewis right now. As Lewis goes up to the wall, Peters stays on the line. The ace back to P1.
As you see, the 1 of Peters now taking the lead here once again from Charlotte Motor Speedway here on lap 78 out of the 125. But look at Justin Lewis. He's not going pretty far. He wants to stay right behind that one car, possibly make a move there as you see the 7 get loose out of turn 2.
Yep, try to fight as long as he can to try to minimize how much he's going to have to make up after making his second pit stop. As we said that Lilith Peters had gotten out to a 3.5 second lead over Ryan Kelly after coming into the pits. Yeah, that's extended a little bit. Kelly is now 5.5 seconds behind Lilith Peters, so she is pulled away by 5 seconds, by 3 seconds thanks to the undercut, and now a further 2 since pitting back on lap 61.
Unfortunately, I think we're going to see the 1 of Lilith Peters start pulling away once again. As you see, she has a gap of a 1 second gap now on the 7 of Justin Lewis. I think we're going to see her start moving out once again, but then I think her tires are going to start wearing down, and then we're going to see her start closing back in to second place, possibly battle there later on in this race. As you see the 60 of Schaus and the 27 there of Dalton battling for 6th spot.
There's Trevor Dalton up in front, Eric Schaus in second, and, well, we had the 400 of Matt Schlosser in this group. A couple of laps ago, though, this happened with Matt Schlosser. Had a big moment coming out of turn 4 and had to pull it into the pits, was able to keep it straight, kept the car rolling, which is why he did not trigger what would have been our first caution of the night, as it looked like he may have gotten tangled up there with the lap car of Raymond Kimmel.
Very unfortunate tonight for the 400 there of Schlosser. Having a great run here tonight from Charlotte Motor Speedway, possibly getting a top 10 or top 5 finish here tonight, but unfortunately just ended up in a track incident. Nobody's fault there. As you see, I believe that's the 58 of Adam Lowe there. It is battling with the 44 of Steven Johnson there for 8th place.
So Trevor Dalton and Eric Schaus running nose to tail. 3 seconds behind them is this pair of Adam Lowe and Steven Johnson, and then another 6 seconds behind this pair. There you see them coming down the back straightaway. Is Maxwell Caldwell and Matthew McMeekin. Caldwell running in 10th, McMeekin running in 11th. As Caldwell getting slowed up a little bit by the lap car of McAllister.
McAllister all over the place there for a little bit. As you see the 41 of McMeekin there, right on the back bumper, 94 of Caldwell, trying to get 10th place from him here on lap 84, coming out of turn 2.
Barrett Flo trying to reel them in as well. He's running in the 12th spot, is car number 92. But back up front, Lilith Peters, thanks to the pace in that car and the older tires on Justin Lewis, has gone out to a 3.5 second lead here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. She has led the most laps from pole and has been dominant in car number 1 here tonight, working lap 85 of 125 here from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We'll take a quick break, be right back, and bring you the finish here of the SCL Winston Cup Series round number 7, here at Charlotte.
We've seen the 77 Joshua Yarborough using that outside lane for most of this race here tonight, but he is now working the inside line, and as he's passing the 16 of Michael Matta, coming into turn 1. Yeah, she's been very I don't even know what to say at this point. Like, I have a feeling she's just gonna dominate the rest of this race, to be honest with you. I didn't expect Lilith Peters to be out here for most of the race tonight, but she's done very well here, starting off the second half of the season. And I think the second half of the season is gonna play in favor for her also. These two battling side by side, back and forth with each other for a few laps now. Been doing very good. Probably going to get a top 10 here tonight for both of them. Right now, look who's in 4th place and 5th place. Rounding out your top 5, it's the 47 of West and the 60 of Schaus. They are also having a very excellent night here. Congratulations to them. We haven't seen West a lot lately. What a great comeback here tonight from Charlotte. Steven Johnson there making an aggressive move to the outside. Got around the 58 of Adam Lowe there. As you see the 58 there tap the outside wall. He's going to keep it straight there. They're both going to be battling in turn 3 and 4. As you see the 5 now on the apron there, heading onto pit road. That's Jack Sanders in the 5 car. This is what I've been talking about earlier, Frank. The one is going to start moving forward, and then all of a sudden it's going to start falling off each lap here. And unfortunately, I think that's what's going to happen here. As you see the 13 of Kelly, only 2 seconds back now, and I think he's going to close this gap pretty quick here on the 1 of Peters. 13 of Kelly can now see that purple machine of the one of Lilith Peters in his front view window now. So that is all he's focusing on right now. He doesn't matter who's around him. He's just trying to get to the one there because he knows he's running out of time, and it's going to run out of time really quick here. So the 13 is going to have to try to get to the one here as soon as possible.
Thank you, Ronnie, in the chat. Yes, I did mute myself, unfortunately. Basically, all I said was that Peters is running one hell of a race right now. She is starting to lose some time. We went back to Steven Johnson and Adam Lowe, saying how long Johnson's been behind Lowe, and then finally managed to get around him. Other than that, I haven't really said much of anything important. As, again, still closing that gap. Lilith Peters, 1.8 seconds now, the gap between her and Kelly.
You can both see them on the screen now, and I am believing in the one now. I think she can pull this off, but unfortunately, I think she's going to have to battle with this 13 coming to the end of this race.
Now, remember what we saw at the end of stage one. Lilith Peters allowed Kelly to get up to her. They never really had a fight, and then Kelly started to fall off. So while Kelly did prove and show to be the faster car in the middle of the run, Peters didn't waver, and there was really no contest for the race lead as Peters was able to hold strong, and now she's got 3 cars. Make it 2 here in a second as the 5 goes around on the outside on fresh tires. It's going to be a close race for sure, but does the 13 have anything for the 1?
You're just not going to know until that time comes, unfortunately. But, I mean, the second place car of Kelly in the 13 has made tremendous ground on the 1 of Peters, as you can tell on the timer on the left side of the screen there. Now he's just to 1 second almost behind the 1 of Peters. I don't know what Peters is doing. I unfortunately think it's a little bit of tire fall off. And now that you see the 13 in your mirror, I think she's getting a little nervous now.
She's been here before. We've seen her quite a bit. This is not a new name to this series. Not a new name to SRM, and she got really, really tight coming off of turn 4 there. Almost put it through the grass, and that really took a nice little chunk out of her lead. Again, she has 2 cars between her and Kelly, and with 18 laps to go, she might have to lean on that.
Time is ticking right now with 18 laps to go here from Charlotte Motor Speedway. A caution-free race here tonight, folks. It's been an excellent show. The 1 of Peters has been dominating this race here tonight. And unfortunately, the 13 of Kelly is gaining on her. We're just going to have to see how this plays out.
Justin Lewis on fresh tires on his 2-stop strategy. Running in 13th right now. Unfortunately, not looking like it's going to pay off for Justin Lewis. He's gotten himself back on the lead lap, so a caution won't be detrimental to him right now. Todd Merkel just got passed up by the 13. Now there's no one between car 1 and car 13 here for the race lead. 16 laps to go and 0.7 of a second between first and second.
That's going to do it for the 13 of Kelly. All he can focus on right now is that 1 of Peters. The lap cars are out of the way. It is game time right now for this 13 if he's going to want to win this race.
A little bit further back, Maxwell Caldwell and Matthew McMeekin still battling. This is for the 9th spot between these two. They've been nose to tail pretty much the entirety of this run. McMeekin just has not been able to get close enough to make a move on Caldwell. And Caldwell looks like he'll start his second half, and McMeekin as well, will start their second halves with a top 10 finish as they've gotten past David Hanna, who is a lap down right now, running in the 20th position. We do have 2 retirements here in this race. Zach Lockett done after 75 laps here. Matt Schlosser done after 80. Isaac Love has been on pit road for the last 5 minutes now. He's not officially retired just yet. but he has been down and out of it here for most of this race. And Cody Johnson in the 741 did not start the race. Only 25 took the green, and as it stands with no cautions in sight here tonight, 22 drivers continue to circulate this racetrack with 14 laps to go.
I do believe now, with only 14 laps to go here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, all these drivers inside the top 10, congratulations to them. What a great way to start off the second half of the season. We don't see a lot of these names up here in the top 10 that we saw in the first half of the season. Let's say the 47 of West, we haven't seen as much. The 60 of Schaus as much. The 41 of Mamikin, also, I'll put his name in there too. But they're having great runs here tonight and a great way to start off the second half.
McMeekin getting a very good run here as now we go back up to the front of the field with 12 laps to go. Lilith Peters now a 4/10 of a second lead here between herself and Ryan Kelly. Again, we mentioned she didn't let him get close on the first run, got within a couple of tenths, but never close enough to put up a serious fight. Now she's got to hold on for 11 more laps.
Don't look in your rear view mirror at this point, Peters. Just do what you've been doing all night long. Just try to focus. I know the 13 of Kelly is gaining on you, but there's nothing you can do at that point. You just gotta have to try to battle here for the win with just 11 laps to go. It's gonna be pretty close here tonight.
Yeah, she just caught the wall coming out of turn 2. Didn't seem to affect car number 1 much. As it's going to be a race between these two. Johnny Wood Jr. right now in the 750, 7.6 seconds behind. That would be Kelly, 8 seconds off of the race lead. So it is going to be a two-way fight here with 10 laps to go. Kevin West a further 3 seconds behind Wood. Schaus and Dalton are running nose to tail, but those two are 4.5 seconds off of West. So the top 5, other than a couple of spots, 1st and 5th, are pretty well set as, boy, Peters is getting awfully close to that turn 4 wall with 9 laps to go.
Now you can see the one of Peters now feeling that anxiety, unfortunately, because she can now see the 13 is literally right there on her bumper, possibly stealing this win. Unfortunately for the one of Peters that's been dominating this race tonight.
She has definitely been the class of the field, as I had mentioned before, but none of you guys could hear it since I'm too stupid to turn my mic back on. As Peters going through 1 and 2, she has by far and away owned this race. Ryan Kelly has been the second fastest car. You know what? I may take that back. Isaac Love has been very, very quick here tonight. Unfortunately, because he took the EOL, sat on pit road for a dozen or so laps. That did not help his cause. But he was also very quick. Got one of his laps back the hard way before the pit cycle had started. So he was very, very quick. Unfortunately, never really got a chance to show it for position at least. But the 13 has been very, very good tonight as well. We're 6.5 laps to go.
Still a nice little gap there between the 1 and the 13 there for first place. Peters is pulling away a little bit once again, but that 13 is also gaining each lap. So we're going to have to see how this shakes out here with just 6 laps to go now.
There you see. Times in green are laps where Kelly has been faster as Kelly gets loose coming off of turn 2. Lap times in red down on the bottom, laps where Peters has been faster. See, they are almost dead even. Peters is going to get a big boost here because of that wiggle from the 13 coming out of turn 2. Up to a little bit more than a half a second now between first and second.
And you see the 13 of Kelly there.
Oh,
Oh, the 1 of Peters gets loose out of turn 2. That's going to shrink in the gap a little more now. As you see the 1 of Peters battling side by side there with the 92. But once again, I want to go back to the 13 of Kelly. You see him running the middle line, the top line there, trying to get corner exit runs to try to gain that time. But unfortunately, he's going to have to get through now the 92. As you see 92 of Flo moving out of the way, going to the top lane there. This is it for Ryan Kelly. If he wants to do something, he's going to have to do it now.
4 laps to go, 3.5 laps to go as we ride on board here with Ryan Kelly. And a very good point, running the middle, coming down, trying to pick up as much speed as he possibly can, but whatever he did in that corner did not work. Lost a full 10th in turns 3 and 4 alone there, as Peters 3 laps away from her first win this season. Oh, Maxwell Caldwell. Look at all the damage on the 94.
Oh, wow.
What in the world happened to Caldwell?
He's having such a strong night here. You see a lot of right front damage there. You see, looks like a broken toe link. We have to possibly check that out later.
Let's go to this really quickly here. Caldwell, this is going into turn 1 with McMeekin, both of them running sideways. Caldwell gets out in front. And then not sure what happened. I don't think it's going to be on this lap, but we'll get back to that a little bit later on. Coming to the white flag, 1 lap to go here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Peters with a half a second lead.
Peters with a half a second lead here on the final lap here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Has been dominant this whole race and has proven to be the best driver here to start out the second half of the season and the top 10 here. Also getting great results here tonight, but tonight it belongs to the 1 of Lilith Peters coming out of turn 4.
Yep, coming through turn 4. She's been dominant all night, started from the pole, led the most laps, and she will take her first win of the season. Lilith Peters, your race winner here tonight from Charlotte. Great season debut for Ryan Kelly. Johnny Wood comes home third. But what a night and what a drive from car number 1 to open up the second half of this season.
Great job by the 1 of Lilith Peters there. She did an excellent job holding off the 13 of Kelly. I thought the 13 of Kelly was going to get there, but that one sure did hold the 13 off here tonight. As you see the 1 making its way onto the front straightaway, going to do some burnouts here.
And this will most likely move her to the points lead. Michael Matta crossed the line in 14th. So Lilith Peters probably starting off this second half of the season, most likely starting off this second half of the season in the best way possible. As we will jump in now with Lilith Peters. As Lilith, boy, you made it look easy, smacking these guys around all night long. How good was that car tonight?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you.
Okay, my computer was acting weird. That was a fun race. I can't believe we went green all the way. I'm shocked.
It certainly was a fun race from your perspective. You had no one in front of you all night. How was it to get around this racetrack, and just how good was that car tonight?
It was tight. Brian was quicker than me, but I think the dirty air was just enough to keep him back when he caught me and when he was behind me the first run. But, I mean, there was no loose in this. It was super tight plowing. But I like it. I kind of like that kind of car.
You had mentioned completely caution-free here tonight, second time this season, first time since Motegi a couple of weeks ago. How difficult is it on one of these caution-free races when you're so used to getting that break of a caution, another caution, another caution, to kind of focus in when you get into one of these long runs?
It's different. I mean, it helps me focus when it's just green. I don't really like the circus races. This felt like an actual good race, so I'm pretty proud of it. And everybody pretty much raced clean, so I think it was a great race for the league.
We go to Talladega next, and I'm sure that's where the smile comes off your face. As what are your thoughts and expectations and hopes going into Talladega?
Every single plate track I've done here has been horrible, so it can only go up. That's all I'll say.
That's fair enough. And from what we saw in the chat here, Sir Iscooby, I guess that would be the name. I'm sorry for completely butchering that. Discounts if Kaija Cat wins tonight. Any truth to that? Any discounts that are coming?
Should be. I think it's in my SDK. Kaiju Cat 1.
Yep. There you go.
That's some good sauce.
There you go. Right on screen right now, actually. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
I'll thank the sponsor, the sauce, Luna Steak Sauce. You buy it at foxfirefoods.com. And I'll thank Jeremy. He was the only teammate tonight, but he was some nice chatting. And thanks for broadcasting. Looked fun.
All right. Thank you very much. That was Lilith Peters, your race winner and now new points leader going into Talladega. Lilith, congratulations.
Thanks. Good night.
As we'll now take our second place finisher. That would be Ryan Kelly. And Ryan, boy, you certainly had some pace under that Dynaco machine here tonight, but unfortunately just never really got close enough to put Lilith under much pressure.
Yeah, it was real hard with the dirty air being behind her, and especially she was extremely quick tonight. So happy with a second place finish. The car handled well off the route, and I was just hoping that she'd run out of gas, but it didn't happen. So still happy with P2.
Yeah, she said it was really, really a tight race, and we heard a lot of drivers through onboard shots going down to fourth gear here tonight. Is that something you guys normally do around this racetrack, or was it just because the car was set up so tight that you needed that fourth gear to kind of help the car turn a little bit?
Yeah, it's just this next-gen car with there being 5 gears, and especially how tight it is in traffic. It lets you get the RPMs high, and it just helps the car turn a real lot. So I was using fourth gear for most of the night on both turns. So shifting, and it's just a little bit quicker.
We go to Talladega next week. What are your thoughts going on to the big plate track after a solid P2 here tonight?
Yeah, I'm normally not around on Mondays. Hopefully I'll be around to make it. This is my first race of the season, actually. So hopefully I'll be able to make it. And I know there's a bunch of great drivers in here, so always a pleasure when I get to race here.
All right. Anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, just you guys up in the booth and all the admins for putting on the league, and all the drivers. Caution free is pretty good, so shout out to all the drivers.
All right. Your second place finisher here tonight, Ryan Kelly. Bud, congratulations.
Thank you.
And now we will go to our third place finisher here tonight, Johnny Wood Jr. Johnny, you were certainly the class of the field for everyone that didn't have a 1 or a 3 on their car here tonight. What was the race like from your perspective?
It was definitely a option-free race this time. I tell you that. Yeah, we when you want to have a caution, there won't be a caution, and when you don't want cautions, there will be plenty of them.
That seems to be the way. It's either we're getting 15 or we're getting none this season. As you just talk about, because you were kind of in a spot most of the race where you were a couple seconds behind the 2 in front of you, but you were still a couple seconds ahead of those who were behind you. What is it like in a race like this that goes green for so long to be kind of just stuck in that pocket with nothing really much going on around you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say probably around lap 75, I was just kind of watching you have like a little point seconds who's behind you and who's ahead of you. I was just trying to keep that even. If not, let the leaders leave a little bit to kind of save tires for hopefully a late race caution. But it seemed that it just went caution free, and I just couldn't keep my laps tight like the top two did. I mean, I felt like they just kept theirs within a tenth or so. I'd have to go back and look at their times and see how they compare to mine, but it seems like they just kept them tighter.
We go to Talladega next week. What are your thoughts going to the big racetrack and the last plate track of the season?
Just pick somebody and roll with them, I guess. I mean, luck of the draw there. Just pick somebody, push. I feel like I'm probably the Brad Keselowski of pushing, so beware.
As long as you're not the Ricky Stenhouse, that's I'm sure they'll be okay with it. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I want to thank my cousin Justin. He glued the lug nut on this left front today, so kept me in the race.
Fair enough. Thank you, Justin. Johnny Wood Jr., your third place finisher here tonight, bud. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, what a night. What a quick night as well. That race time just over an hour. And Daniel, we got some extra time here this evening. What are your plans for the rest of the night?
The rest of the night, I'm probably going to watch a replay of this excellent race later on tonight. Eat a snack probably before I go to bed, and wake up refreshed tomorrow, and can't wait for next week. That's going to be exciting too, because next Monday we also have our race once again, and the second race of the second half of the season. And tonight, this race, Frank, it delivered. It seriously delivered. It was a caution-free event tonight. Great racing between these drivers. And the one of Lilith Peters, she had an excellent night. No mistakes. We had a little mistakes here and there, bouncing off the wall out turn 4 at the end. But that's because I think she was getting a little nervous, seeing the 13 of Ryan Kelly gaining on her at the end there. But she's been dominating this whole race tonight.
It absolutely was. And at least for me, I got San Diego State basketball coming up in a couple of hours, about a half hour. So I'll be definitely tuned into that. But yeah, here tonight, it was an absolutely fantastic race. And this is more on par with what we're used to seeing here with SCL. Not necessarily caution-free, but certainly not 10 cautions either. It was just a great night all the way around here for the SCL. Let's take a look at the finishing results here for tonight's race. Lilith Peters, pole, most laps led, win. I believe no, actually, Johnny Wood Jr. had the fastest lap, but she certainly does have the points lead, so not a grand slam for car number 1, but certainly a big win for her. Ryan Kelly, Johnny Wood Jr., Kevin West, and Trevor Dalton make up your top 5. Eric Schaus, Steven Johnson, Adam Lowe, Matthew McMeekin, and Justin Lewis go to 10th, and those are the only cars that finished on the lead lap. Christopher Melton, Barrett Flo, Todd Merkel, Michael Matta, and Jeremy Flanagan will make up the top 15. Joshua Yarborough, Brandon Hinton, Maxwell Caldwell, Raymond Kimmel, and David Hanna to 20th. Jack Sanders, Gareth McAllister, Isaac Love, Matt Schlosser, and Zach Lockett round out the field of those who started. Cody Johnson did not start the race here this evening. So that will do it for us here from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Round number 7 in the books. Round number 8 from Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama coming up next Monday night. For my broadcast partner, Daniel Paulus, I'm Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. And remember, as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.